Last Christmas, under the twinkling lights of our family tree, my parents handed me a gift that changed everything, a flimsy paperback titled How to Grow Up. Meanwhile, my sister, Amelia, tore open an envelope revealing plane tickets to Barcelona. A career-boosting adventure, as my dad put it with a proud grin. The contrast stung. My book's cover mocked me with a cartoon woman clutching a juice box, surrounded by overdue bills, its subtitle sneering, "Stop being a toddler in an adult body." It wasn't just a gift. It was a jab, a message that at 31, I was still the family's lovable but immature afterthought. While my parents gushed over Amelia's ambition, her glossy dreams of international success, I sat there, forcing a smile to hide the ache. I'm a kindergarten teacher, a creator of puppet shows and glitter-filled chaos, but to them, I was just the dependable helper, not someone with dreams worth celebrating. That book, meant to nudge me toward their version of adulthood, sparked something else entirely, a realization that growing up meant owning my worth, not shrinking to fit their expectations. Every morning, I step into my kindergarten classroom, a whirlwind of laughter, sticky fingers, and glitter explosions. It's where I feel most alive, surrounded by 5-year-olds who see me as a fairy godmother weaving magic from paper plates and pipe cleaners. I craft puppet shows, mediate toy-sharing meltdowns, and cheer when a shy kid finally raises their hand. This is my world, loud, colorful, and unapologetically joyful. But to my family, it's just the clown job, a cute phase I never grew out of. At 31, I'm the one who makes kids light up like Christmas trees, yet my parents still look at me like I'm stuck playing dress-up. They don't see the skill it takes to calm a room of tantruming toddlers or the heart I pour into every construction paper dragon. To them, my work is a quirky detour, not a career. Growing up, I was always the afterthought in our family's holiday spotlight. Last Christmas wasn't the first time I felt it. One year, my sister Amelia unwrapped a sleek MacBook for her college applications, while I got a laminated to-do list for reorganizing the garage, handwritten in Comic Sans, no less. Amelia was the golden child, destined for greatness, with her LinkedIn profile at 16 and debate team speeches practiced in front of the mirror. Her dreams were framed as world-changing. Mine were dismissed as childish. When I was 7, I told my parents I wanted to be a fairy, not a princess, a fairy. I had a whole speech about sprinkling joy and helping kids believe in magic. My dad laughed so hard he dropped his fork, saying, "Aim for something with dental insurance." My mom just patted my head. "She'll grow out of it." I never did. That fairy dream became early childhood education, but to them, it was all the same, a sparkly, unserious hobby. The unfairness didn't stop at gifts. Over the years, I became the family's unofficial support system, especially for Amelia. When she had her daughter, Elodie, 2 years ago, I was thrilled to be an aunt. Elodie's giggles and tiny hands wrapped around my finger felt like pure magic. But soon, my role morphed into something else. "Just watch her for an hour," Amelia would say, dropping Elodie off while she ran errands. Then it was entire weekends so she and her husband could jet off to networking trips that looked suspiciously like vacations. I canceled my own plans, birthday parties for kids at work, rare dates, even my side gig making balloon animals. At children's parties, my weekends weren't mine anymore. I was the village, as my mom liked to say, the one who showed up with glitter wands and bedtime stories while Amelia chased her dreams in Berlin or Lisbon. It wasn't just time. My bank account took a hit too. At first, it was small, covering Amelia's student visa fees just until my next check clears, she'd promise. Then it was textbooks, conference fees, and plane tickets for career-building symposiums. I dipped into my savings, telling myself it was temporary, that family helps family. But the thanks never came. Instead, I got eye rolls when I mentioned my own work, like the time my mom said, "Oh honey, that's not a real business, it's like playing dress-up." She said it while I was holding Elodie, who was wearing a sparkly tutu and calling me her fairy auntie. The irony was thicker than the glitter glue I cleaned off my jeans every day. The worst part, I let it happen. I thought being good meant being useful, even if it meant fading into the background. When Amelia got an A, they framed her report card. When I won a storytelling contest dressed as a dinosaur, they told me not to show off. Her ambitions got a study room. Mine got a suggestion to consider a backup degree. I was the dependable one, the cheerful helper, always there to clean up the holiday potluck or babysit at a moment's notice. But dependable didn't mean respected. At family dinners, my rosemary roasted potatoes were overlooked while Amelia's store-bought cranberry sauce got rave reviews. "You're so practical," my dad said to her, as if my homemade dishes were just a cute effort. That Christmas, as I sat with that smug How to Grow Up book in my hands, the weight of it all hit me. The cartoon woman on the cover, clutching her juice box amid overdue bills, felt like a caricature of how they saw me: immature, stuck, not serious enough. I sipped lukewarm cocoa I'd made for everyone and smiled through the sting, like I always did. But inside, I was unraveling. How could I be 31, pouring my heart into a job that made kids feel safe and seen, yet still feel like a 10-year-old in my own family? I lay awake that night in my rented room above a nail salon, the faint hum of holiday lights outside my window. Elodie's giggle from earlier, when I'd made her a reindeer puppet, echoed in my chest louder than my parents' words. It was a fleeting moment of joy in a sea of dismissal. Then, something shifted. That book, with its patronizing subtitle, wasn't just a jab, it was a mirror. Not in the way they intended, not a call to ditch my glitter or get a real job. It was a wake-up call to stop letting their version of adulthood define me. I wasn't immature for loving my work or finding joy in sparkly wings. I was invisible because I'd let myself be. The pressure to grow up wasn't about growing at all, it was about shrinking to fit their mold. Lying there, staring at the ceiling, I realized growing up didn't mean abandoning who I was. It meant standing up for her. That Christmas night, as I lay in my cramped room above the nail salon, the glow of holiday lights flickering through my window, something inside me clicked. The book my parents gave me, How to Grow Up, sat on my desk, its cartoon cover mocking me with its smug subtitle, "Stop being a toddler in an adult body." They meant it as a nudge to be more like my sister, Amelia, polished, ambitious, LinkedIn ready. But as I stared at the ceiling, Elodie's giggle from earlier that day replayed in my mind, louder than their words. I realized they were wrong. Growing up wasn't about ditching my glitter-dusted sneakers or trading puppet shows for a corner office. It was about standing up for the woman I'd become, the one who made kids feel safe, who turned scraps into magic, who deserved respect as much as anyone. That book wasn't a guide. It was a spark, igniting a fire to reclaim my worth on my own terms. The next morning, I sat at my desk, glitter still clinging to the edges of my floor, and typed out a message to Amelia. My fingers trembled, but my words were steady. I was stepping back from regular babysitting. I loved being Elodie's aunt, but I couldn't keep sacrificing every weekend, pouring my time and energy into her life while mine slipped away. I wished her well, told her I believed in her dreams, but I was done funding them too, no more covering her conference fees or plane tickets. Then I sent a second message to my parents, thanking them for the book, saying it had made me think. I kept it kind, polite, firm, no sarcasm, no bitterness, just boundaries. For the first time, I wasn't asking for their approval. I was claiming my space. Their response was swift and chaotic. By noon, my phone buzzed with missed calls, 6 from my parents, 2 voicemails, and a group text from my mom. "We're just very surprised. This feels out of character. Please reconsider for the sake of the family." Out of character? I almost laughed. They'd handed me a book that screamed I wasn't grown, yet when I acted like an adult with needs of my own, they panicked. Amelia's voicemail was sharper, her voice tight. "You can't just pull away like this." What about Elodie? I let the calls go to voicemail, not because I was angry, but because I was busy at work, with kids who saw me, with a life I was finally starting to build. Their shock felt like confirmation. They'd never expected me to say no. Looking back, I saw how deep this went. When I was 7, I stood in our living room, clutching a notebook where I'd scribbled my dream of being a fairy. Not a princess or a doctor, a fairy, sprinkling joy, helping kids believe in wonder. My dad's laughter still echoed in my ears. Maybe aim for something with dental insurance. My mom's gentle dismissal followed. She'll change her mind. They always do, but I didn't. That dream became my work with kids, crafting puppet shows and art projects that made their eyes light up. Yet to my family, it was a phase, a cute quirk, not a calling. They didn't see the strength it took to manage a room of preschoolers or the heart I poured into every story I told. They saw glitter and assumed I was stuck in childhood. Amelia, though, was their pride. At 16, she had a LinkedIn profile, practiced debate speeches in the mirror, and wrote award-winning essays on topics she didn't even care about. When she announced she wanted to study international relations, my parents clapped like she'd just solved world hunger. She's going to change the world, they'd say, their voices dripping with awe. Her path was structured, glossy. Measurable grants, internships, scholarships. When those ran dry, they turned to me, expecting me to chip in for her visa fees, her textbooks, her networking trips that doubled as yoga retreats. I did it, thinking that's what family does. But while they framed her report cards, my storytelling awards got a pat on the head and a don't show off. Her guest room became a study. My dream of working with kids got a suggestion to get a backup degree. The contrast was stark and it hurt. Amelia's success was celebrated as proof of maturity. My passion was dismissed as childish. They didn't see the skill in calming a toddler's meltdown or the creativity in turning a cardboard box into a dragon. They saw my paint-splattered aprons and assumed I was less. For years, I believed them. I thought being cheerful meant I was immature, that loving kids made me foolish, that helping endlessly made me valuable. But that book, with its patronizing cover, flipped a switch. Growing up wasn't about becoming Amelia Serious, spreadsheet-worthy, jet-setting. It was about embracing who I was, glitter and all, and demanding the respect I'd earned. I wasn't their helper anymore. I was me, someone who made kids feel seen, who deserved to be seen too. The moment I sent those messages setting boundaries, I braced for impact. I told Amelia I was done babysitting every weekend, done funding her dreams, done being the family's invisible helper. The silence that followed felt like the calm before a storm. I started saying no politely, firmly, without apology. When Amelia texted about a quick errand or a Friday night dinner event, I responded, "Hope it's great, maybe next time." No explanations, no guilt. I stopped sending money too, letting the absence of my usual Venmo transfers speak for itself. By Thursday, my phone lit up with their panic texts from Amelia saying it stung that I was pulling away, voicemails from my dad calling my distance worrying. Funny how they only noticed me when I stopped being their unpaid assistant. But for the first time, I wasn't bending. I was choosing myself. Saying no brought something unexpected. Joy. Not the forced smile I'd worn at family dinners, but the kind that bubbles up when you're living for you. At work, I laughed harder than I had in years when a coworker turned a juice spill into an impromptu water safety lesson, or when a kid told me they loved me more than jelly beans, but not more than outer space. I started reclaiming my weekends too. One Saturday, I went to the zoo alone, feeding giraffes and eating overpriced cotton candy. A toddler threw a shoe into the meerkat exhibit, declaring it an offering, and I cracked up, free from anyone's expectations. No one asked me to babysit or handed me a trash bag to clean up. That day was mine, and I didn't even post it online. I kept it close, like a secret treasure, but freedom came with backlash. My family didn't take kindly to my newfound spine. By Monday, 3 missed calls from my dad waited on my phone, along with a voicemail that opened with, "We're deeply hurt. Amelia had tried hiring a babysitter for a networking cocktail mixer, some teen with a nose ring who backed out last minute. Instead of canceling, she left Elodie with her husband's cousin, who forgot to change her diaper for 5 hours and let her eat whipped cream straight from the can. My parents were horrified, not at their golden child, but at me. Amelia's under so much stress, my mom said. She doesn't need this betrayal. Betrayal? I stared at my phone, peeling a Paw Patrol sticker off my notebook, breathing slowly to keep from screaming. I hadn't abandoned anyone. I just stopped being their doormat. The tension escalated when Amelia texted, "We need to talk. Mom says you've been weird." She mentioned her tuition deposit hadn't gone through, as if I'd forgotten my role as her personal ATM. I laughed in the teacher's lounge, where my coworkers leaned in like they were watching a soap opera. "I'm not behind," I texted back. I stopped. She called instantly, her voice sharp. "You can't just do that without warning. I'm applying for this Geneva program." I cut her off. "I'm not your sponsor, Amelia. I'm your sister." She scoffed, blaming it on that stupid book, but I was done. "It's not the book," I said. "It's everything, how you don't take me seriously unless I'm useful, how my job's a joke but my free labor's sacred." She hung up, and for once, I felt like I'd won. Then came the confrontation. My mom showed up at my school unannounced, her coat and heels out of place amid the crayon-drawn whales on the walls. I was cleaning up a glitter craft explosion, glue stick in hand, when she cornered me in the hallway. "Your sister's upset," she began, her voice tight. "You're being cold." I looked at her, then at the glue stick, and something snapped into focus. "Every day, I tell my kids their feelings matter, that they deserve respect, that it's okay to say no," I said. "I believe that, even with sparkles on my pants." She blinked, like I'd spoken a foreign language. "I'm not being cold," I added. "I'm being clear. That's what growing up means, setting limits, protecting your peace." She called it abandoning the family. I called it stepping out of servitude. I walked back to my classroom where snack time waited, and my kids didn't judge me for not buying plane tickets to Europe. The real test came with Elodie's birthday. I wasn't invited to the official party, Amelia's Pinterest perfect affair with coordinated balloons and a hired photographer. Instead, I saw it on Facebook. Elodie in a bouncy castle, Amelia and her husband posing in pastels, captioned, "Some families are born, others show up." The exclusion hurt, but I didn't wallow. I booked a small community hall, pulled out my costume boxes, and threw Elodie a fairy-themed birthday party just for us. We made crowns, had a puppet show, and sprayed glitter confetti with zero restraint. She hugged me so hard I nearly fell over, whispering, "Best birthday ever." That moment was pure magic, no guilt, no strings, just love. Amelia didn't see it that way. Elodie's chatter about the fairy party sparked a firestorm. Amelia texted, "She's confused, calling yours the real one." Not helpful. Then came the low blow. Someone, likely her, contacted my school, asking if any kids had been taken without authorization. They were fishing, trying to paint me as reckless. I sat in the staff room, surrounded by paper snowflakes, and pulled up my text history with Amelia. Her approval for the party, the drop-off time, the address. I emailed her, attaching the proof. "If this continues, or if my workplace gets another false inquiry, I'll consult legal counsel. I love Elodie, but I won't tolerate slander." My mom called it cold. I called it standing my ground. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving their judgment, I was fighting back with the truth. The dust settled slowly, but it settled. Amid the storm of family tension, unexpected voices broke through. My uncle, the one who once brought me cake on a random Tuesday, called to say, "You matter more than they let on." My cousin sent a quiet message. "Elodie looked so happy at your party." Even one of Amelia's friends, someone I barely knew, reached out. "The way they're talking about you, it's not okay. I'm here if you need backup." These small gestures felt like anchors, grounding me when I doubted myself. Then came Amelia's letter, her handwriting shaky on the envelope. She admitted she'd overreacted, scared by Elodie's joy at my party, and apologized. I didn't forgive her instantly. Trust takes time, but I wrote back, I love Elodie. I'll always be there for her, but not in a dynamic where love is leverage. 3 weeks later, a video arrived. Elodie twirling in her sparkly tutu, giggling, I love my fairy auntie. The moment was worth more than any apology. Now, 3 years later, my life is my own. I run a creative workshop business for kids, with a 2-month wait list for birthday parties. I speak at early childhood education events, glitter in my hair and all. Elodie, now 5, still calls me her fairy auntie, and I see her often, no strings attached. Amelia's navigating her own path, less glamorous but hers. My parents and I keep a polite distance. They don't get it, and maybe they never will. But I don't miss the old days. Growing up meant choosing my joy, my boundaries, my truth. So, what about you? Have you ever had to draw a line to protect your peace? Drop your story in the comments, hit like if this resonated, and subscribe for more real talk about finding your spark in a world that tries to dim it.